And Walt Disney goes, no, we don't need a fence. We need a path to get to this spot. We need to get rid of the garden and put the path to allow the customer to take the picture that they want.
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.
All right, let's jump straight into the podcast, Nate. It's one of those things that, like, the reason why I listen to keynote speeches, and I think they're almost better than podcasts, is because it's such a fine, finished, polished product when they're delivering these speeches to audiences. I know Gary Vee does a lot. He uses a lot of his content. But I found this guy named Jesse Cole. He's the owner and founder of the Savannah Bananas. And I was listening to one of his talks, and he mentioned a couple different books that I had never heard of, and where he got his inspiration for creating this fan first type business, which is baseball. And he really made it about the fans and not so much about the actual product that they're delivering. And then anyway, so I started reading this book by Ken Blanchard called Raving Fans. It's a little 55 page book that absolutely changed my world when it comes to business and how I want to like operate this next business venture with Bold, Brave, and Free, and thought it was super interesting. So I took like 4 pages of notes. And when you take 4 pages of notes and the book is only 50 pages or 55 pages, that I think that means something.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a great book. I read that one because I think Andy Frisella, had it on one of his, books to read as well. That one, and just have you read Delivering Happiness?
I have not.
That's another good one. It's kind of similar as far as all about the customer and stuff. I'd recommend that one by Tony Hsieh. But yeah, I mean, it's such a great concept, right? Of being customer focused, right? Like that's all that matters. Delivering the best experience, and you will get people that will become raving fans that will talk about your business for you, that are loyal to your business, right? No matter what the cost is, no matter, they're that's where they're going for things. And it's just today, like a quick little story to kind of go, and what's going on with that, and how most big businesses operate. Helping my dad, he needed to get a new wash machine. It went out. So we go to Home Depot. Hey, we like to buy this washing machine right here. Okay. Lady goes to the back, takes about 10 minutes. Okay, yeah, we have one back there. I just got to get someone to get it down from wherever they have. Stood there for another 10, 15 minutes, still trying to find someone to help get it down. Eventually, we're like, all right, we're just going to leave. Go to Costco, and they got them on the floor right there, loaded up ourselves and get. But even that, right? So it's a whole thing of like, where's the customer service? Whereas, hey, we have someone here that wants to buy a product that you have, and not any fault of her. This lady's probably like 65 years old. She's just doing the best she can in the appliance section, but it's still one of those things that there is no, customer service anymore at the majority of the places you go to, especially large, corporate businesses. You can still get some better customer service at, smaller mom and pop shops, but it is a thing where it's people are just like, I don't know what to do. I can't really help you. I can't find anyone. Sorry. Like, most people don't care. And that book is just, it's a great book, great read. And it is all about just delivering that great experience for your customer.
Yeah. And I don't know where I got the book, but I read the front cover, and it said it was published in 1993. And I don't typically read the foreword in the actual book. And for whatever reason, I started reading the foreword, and the guy who wrote the foreword wasn't the same guy who wrote the book. And he pretty much explained, he goes, back in, again, this is 1992, 1993, we're in a customer service revolution. Like, if you take pride in your customer service, your business is going to excel, and it's going to be miles apart. And I started thinking about, some of the experiences that I've had in my life and through our travels. And it was so funny because a lot of these things and a lot of these concepts popped up, every so often in my life. And one particular incident was when we traveled to Pebble Beach, California, where we played, some of the most expensive golf courses in the world. And but the level of customer service, you truly felt like you were a king. They almost read your mind. I mean, there was times where, you would leave to play golf, you would come back, and they would have had they've cleaned your room, they've gotten fresh towels, but they put the towels in certain places where like you're going to be able to use the towels. And they like cleaned your shoes after the golf round. And they, when you left for dinner after you went and changed and showered at your room, they came back a second time and they like prepared your bed and left the chocolate and made sure that, the drinks and snacks were all ready to go for you to come back and have a nightcap. And all of the drinks and snacks were complimentary and the tip was complimentary. You just had to show up. Now, keep in mind that trip was incredibly expensive, but it was one of those times in my life where I go, this is absolutely amazing. This is absolutely one of the best experiences. It was one of the smoothest trips I've ever been on. And things were just naturally taken care of. And I didn't really think twice about it. But then you start getting really bad service and you start questioning, all of these things. And this book just absolutely highlighted, what great customer service looks like. And some of the topics that they covered, it was essentially a concept of like the 3 steps to creating raving fans. Step 1, as a business owner, you have to decide what you want and you have to create a vision of that perfection. And step 2 is discover what the customer wants, which is just a crazy, crazy idea. Nate, you walk into Home Depot ready to spend hundreds of dollars and you leave with no products because no one is willing to help you. That's mind blowing. And then third is essentially deliver +1. So whatever you promise, deliver it, and then deliver a little bit more. And you create this raving fan of your business, and they're willing to pay more. They're willing to tell their friends about, your business and how they were treated. And it's shocking because we're going through this process of we bought this new RV and we've had several issues with it. But what's shocking is we take it to the RV dealership and they fix it. There's no wait. There's no invoice. There's just bring it in and we'll fix it right now. And it's one of those things that, we got a bunch of YouTube comments on our last video. They're like, if you bought a new RV at a regular dealership, it would be 3 or 4 months until they got to your issue. And I was just shocked that, some of these, and now we're bragging about this RV company. We're bragging about the problems we had and we're excited to have the problems repaired where, if we had to wait 3 or 4 months to use our RV or make it functional again, we would speak very negatively about that brand or that company.
Yeah, especially in your guys' particular situation, right? Needing to use it, that's your home, and like where other people may be like, we're not even going on vacation for a month anyways, so it's fine or whatever it may be. But it's crazy that there are these different disparities, and for anyone that hasn't gone and spent a little bit extra money at a place to get amazing customer service, you don't even know what it's like. That's whether it's places that you can go easily, Nordstrom, or going to a nice steakhouse, like these really high end where it's like, yeah, you can go get a steak at local restaurant for $20, but you will not get the same service when you go and spend $60 on that exact same steak and everything else more expensive. But the level of customer service you get, all the extra little things that you get, like I said, it's in the little details that matter, that getting your drink refilled like quickly, and getting your dirty plates cleaned up quickly, like all this little stuff that most places or most people won't even think about when you're getting that exceptional service. Or you buy a suit and they will tailor it for you at no extra cost when you go at Nordstrom, or these little places, that it is crazy that when you get that great experience is why most people are willing to spend the extra money. They're not even going to go anywhere else because, like, well, I just know I'm going to get what I need taken care of, and it's not a question, even if it's going to cost twice as much, or how 3 times as much sometimes, for something.
Well, it's funny because like my wife were discussing Bold, Brave, and Free, and we were trying to decide on like pricing for products. And I quickly realized that the rest of the world will pay for quality and they'll pay for great customer service. You just have to charge an appropriate price. And it was so funny because we were sitting there discussing, like, how much would you pay for a hat? And I was like, I don't know if I'd pay more than $20. But then she brought up the fact that she's like, well, you have friends that literally walk into every golf course they ever go to, and they spend $50 or $60 on a hat. I go, you're selling to those people. You're not selling to yourself. And I think it's one of those things that, if you create this great experience and you create this great atmosphere and you put, your customers first and you take care of their needs and you go above and beyond, you can definitely charge a premium. And I'm thinking things like, Disneyland. Good God. I mean, the upsells at that place are crazy. I read a story earlier today about their $12 Coca-Cola bottle. Okay. The same Coca-Cola that cost, $1 at a gas station or a grocery store is $12. And the reason why it's $12 is because it's got some nerdy, dorky, Star Wars character on the side of it. And it's an item where you can only get at that particular park, at that particular region. And it's almost a collector's item. It's one of those things that you're going to be able to take home with you.
Yeah, and especially like Disneyland or some of these places that have been around for, I mean, part of that's just their brand, right? They've been building their brand for 70 years, the park, right? Like they're building that brand. You go there, it's spotless. You won't find a piece of trash on the ground because there's someone within 30 feet picking up all the trash, scooping it up. And it's just, you go in the bathrooms, they're immaculate because there's someone there. Same thing, cleaning the bathrooms every 30 minutes or even more frequently. So it's one of those things too where yes, it's expensive to go there. You are paying up charges for all these specialty things, but at the same time, it's an experience that you get that it's hard to find anywhere, to go to clean bathrooms, to go to a place where there's literally no trash on the ground. Just everything is nice, everything is clean. Every employee you go to is in a great mood, is happy. They're it's just a whole experience, and which is what you're paying for. And a lot of people don't understand that you're paying for that experience. That's what your people are buying. They're buying the experience. They're not necessarily buying the ride or whatever. There's tons of theme parks that you can choose to, but people choose to go to Disneyland because of everything else that they're getting.
Well, and it was Walt Disney's vision. I mean, this guy, I've read a couple biographies on Walt Disney, and as becoming an entrepreneur, you start looking at certain details. And one of the stories, or a couple of the stories that come to mind, is like the way they built their shops along Main Street is there's no walls, so you don't have to exit the store to walk down the street to walk into another store. He goes, get rid of all these walls, and it did two things. One, you can shop multiple stores, but also if there's inclement weather, like if it starts raining out, all of a sudden people flock into these stores and they can walk down Main Street without having to get wet. And in turn, they make more sales. And, things, you brought up the trash. Walt Disney was like, okay, just put a trash can every like 20 feet because people aren't going to throw it on the ground if the trash can's available. Like, if you go to your local car wash, the freaking trash can is 400 yards away from you. It's just easier to throw it on the ground. Now, I'm not saying I do that, but I'm saying that like majority of people are just that lazy. And then one of the things that, when I was reading this documentary that was brought up that I thought was super interesting, Walt Disney is out on his morning walk at the very first park in Los Angeles. And one of the gardeners walks up to him and says, hey, can I bring something to your attention? He goes, sure. So they walk over to this flower bed. And the gardener looks at him and goes, listen, we got to put up a fence. He goes, why do you have to put up a fence? He goes, well, all the tourists are stomping through the garden to take a picture at the castle. And Walt Disney goes, no, we don't need a fence. We need a path to get to this spot. We need to get rid of the garden and put the path to allow the customer to take the picture that they want. And it was just one of those mindset shifts that, a lot of people are ready to put up the fence when they should be building the pathway.
For sure. It's, yeah. I mean, where another thing that I was kind of writing down or thinking about earlier is where that's just a little detail thing, right? The littlest details matter that we sometimes overlook, where it's just, it doesn't matter. I'm going to walk by that piece of trash and not pick it up, or I'm not going to clean this little thing that's right there, right? It's in the little details that we get that great experience, that we are willing to do things that people will want to, buy from you, right? Like, on your shirts, right? Are you going to make sure they're perfectly aligned, or if one's slightly off, it's okay. Well, no, but it's one of those things. Maybe even the customer doesn't complain about it, but you you'll know that it's slightly off. And that's, it's just one of those things where all these little details are going to matter, whether it's hats, whether it's shirts, whatever it is in your business, is when you can really worry about those details. And it's hard. It's something that you literally have to work on, building your discipline to worry about the little details. But it is one of those things, I think, that adds up, that will give that, great experience, which is that, right? That little detail of being able to get to the spot to take the perfect picture that someone's going to want to take. That's going to matter to millions of people every year. And it's, I think, one thing that gets overlooked, on top of too, where and these big corporations too, where it gets so you know yeah, the customer gets lost, right? It just becomes a number thing. It becomes, hey, we're just trying to do this as easy, as cheap as possible, and we just want to, as long as we're in the middle of the pack, we're good, and instead of striving to get more sales and get more customers by being ahead of the pack, and doing a little bit more, providing that little bit more, which in turn, everyone wins. Your employees win, because, hey, now they got more customers, they can get paid more. Your business wins, you get more people coming in. It's sometimes the mediocrity is just where everyone wants to be.
Well, so in this book, Raving Fans, one of the topics that they brought up was there's difference between policies, and there's differences between rules. Rules make robots. And oftentimes, I think a lot of these larger corporations, they make these hard and fast rules where, for example, you go into a clothing store, you're only allowed to bring you're only allowed to bring 2 items in the dressing room. Well, how are you supposed to try on more items? So now we're limiting our customers only to be able to buy up to 2 items? Or you take the risk and you take the gamble, and you have faith in your actual customers that only 1 out of 1,000 are actually going to be stealing from you. Let them try on as many clothes as they want and roll the dice, because most people are pretty good people. And it's one of those concepts that I think big corporations and large businesses create these rules that create robots with their employees. And I think if you have, maybe policies aren't a great word, but maybe like systems that can be flexible. It's one of those things that I look at, systems as more like playbooks, and playbooks like in a football play. Oftentimes we would give our kids 2 plays at a time. Be like, listen, if this play doesn't look good, change it. You can do that. We've trained you, we've coached you, we've put you in situations where we believe that you can make this decision. And I think oftentimes with larger corporations, they just swing and miss it with that stuff. They're too scared to give trust back into their employees, because they have been burned. You hire shitty employees, you have a shitty mission statement. You have, if you walk into Home Depot today, are any of them going to know what the mission statement is? Probably not. I mean, you walk into any big box store where people don't give a shit, and most employees don't care. But if you can create an organization, you can create a company that people do care, and you do take care of your employees, and you treat your customers with the utmost respect, and you check every single box, and you go above and beyond, man, you can build a freaking really cool company. And we're not even talking about money. We're just solving a problem in a fun, interesting way. And one of the things that, my wife and I were discussing was, if we sell $50 hats, is that a possibility? Or should we be the normal hat company that sells $20 hats and our margins are $1, right? I mean, by the time you buy the hat, you produce the hat, and you ship the hat, that $20 is gone. Like, it's just, and you're not even getting paid for your time. I said, well, I mean, if we made our hat $50, good God, we could deliver much more quality. We can deliver a better product. We can deliver it faster, and we can deliver with some of those extra bonuses that come in the box when you order a hat from us. And it's probably a direction that we might be going, is chasing, quality and some of the finer things in life, and rather being great America and just being, Disney World or Disneyland. I haven't been to Disneyland since, 2001, but just creating a higher quality product, and in turn creating a higher quality business.
Yeah, and it really does start with, the top, right? Because free thinking is really limited. Like you're saying, they're it's really want it to be very narrow, stay in between, stay on the path right here. This is your path. You got to stay on it. It's really narrow path, and you can't do much outside of it, which it doesn't help, then it is. People don't want to, they're able to free think, they're able to make decisions, which in turn, it limits the customer experience because it's like, oh, can you do this for me? No, we can't do that. It's a lot of no's. It's a lot of no, we can't do that. And it takes away from the customer experience. On top of, a lot of these businesses, even if they're trying, they don't care about their employees enough. They don't pay them enough. They don't, I think it starts there. And it's not everyone is always about pay. Some people want to have a purpose of that. What are we doing? Why do I come into this job every day? What's our greater purpose? And if that purpose isn't there, then it people only are there for a paycheck, and if they're not getting enough money what they think they should be getting, it really is just a bad place, right? I mean, people just really don't care, right? They're just there to clock in and clock out, and that's it, collect their money, and they don't care anything in between that. So and it's really hard, especially on these bigger corporations. At the smaller business level, it's if you have a great leader, it really can have a great experience, right? You get people that are willing, yeah, maybe they can go somewhere else and make a couple dollars more, but they're going to actually stay and work for you because they have a purpose, they see the growth, they see opportunity, and they enjoy the customers that come in and that they get to help, and that it's a whole great experience. And having worked for both big box stores and super small businesses, it's working for a small business is nice because you do, if you're in the right spot, you have so much freedom to do so many things and deliver a great experience for someone.
It was funny. I was listening to this study from this tech entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, and he goes, our biggest retention grabber are friends. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, with our employees, like we cherish friendship. Like we realize that if an employee has a friend at the company, they're more likely to stay and get paid less money than they would at a different company getting paid a little bit more money, but believing that, they didn't want to leave their friend behind. And he goes, I have a blanket policy. He goes, if a team wants to go on vacation as a group, I allow them and I will pay for it. And, I was just shocked by that. I go, so you're going to go spend $10,000 on 4 people to go, hang out at some beach. But in retrospect, I mean, that's a great investment. It's a great investment in your team. And, allowing them to build friendships like that is allowing them to have fun at your job. I mean, if you hate everyone that you work with, you're probably not going to treat your customer very well. I can promise you that. I've worked at jobs where the guys around me were my buddies, and I didn't care how much I got paid. I had fun being at work. And that was one of the things when fun kind of goes away and it turns into a job, that's when you start looking for something else. And I think it's a great point. You do have to make your employees happy. And oftentimes it's not with a pay raise. If that's what they're asking for, they're not happy. They're looking to go somewhere else anyways.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, creating company culture is a huge thing, right? Like what else can you offer someone besides just pay, right? I mean, are you willing to train them up, with different training, send them to training, send them to different schools? What do you have? Do you offer a gym? Do you offer gym memberships? Do you offer, I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can offer that someone would take advantage of to, one, make them work there more. Right, like even places too that have daycares, for people that have kids, like they're willing to spend more time at work. They're not calling in as much, right? Because they have their kids there. There's a place for them instead of like, oh, I don't have my babysitter, they called out and I got to call in sick, right? It's just one of those things that, granted, that's a big investment and that's probably one of the larger companies, but there are so many little things that can be added that people will want to go there and invest their time there to make it, a great place if they have these little things where, yeah, whether it's friendships, whether it's just opportunity for different things that will keep them there. And which is an investment, right? Like it costs so much money to hire a person, go on interviews, training, and for them to just leave after a certain amount of time, it's really wasting money. Then you got to start over again. So it's one of those things. And I was listening to or watching an old video of Patrick Bet David talking about it. He's like, in the beginning, as far as entrepreneurs, and it's like, you look at it, if that person leaves, that's going to cost you $20,000. you're willing to do a little bit more, whether it's paying them more, doing something extra, instead of looking out that I was let that person leave, I don't want to pay them the extra $2 an hour. But if he's talking about it, because it's going to cost you $20,000 to hire someone else. So what do you want to lose? Do you want to lose the $20,000 or lose a person? So it is one of those things that I don't think enough people look at. They're just willing to be like, I'll just find the next cheapest person to do it. But your company suffers so much, especially now where things are more expensive, where people are more conscious with their money. You've got to look at how are you, getting those customers, how are you retaining them, how are you going to stay in business?
I mean, it's. I'm pretty sure this book is going to change my life. And the owner of the Savannah Bananas is absolutely just blowing my mind. And it's one of those things that, I looked at the last company I attempted to build with the Aloha Press, the golf company, and we did a lot of these things that were talked about in the books. And it was something out of pure selfishness. We looked at golf tournaments and we're like, what do we hate? And me and my business partner sat down. We're like, we hate waiting forever to play golf. We hate that it's, you show up and the gift sucks. You show up and there's some stupid raffle and no one wins and it's a bunch of junk that you don't want. And we just started eliminating things. We're like, well, what's the most important thing? Well, the most important thing is just having a good time. How do we have a good time? Can we get a sponsor for drink carts? So sure enough, we bought an entire drink cart. Girl drove around and just gave out beers. People were amazed by that. They were shocked. We drove around and gave out cigars, had lighters and cutters, and then we gave out gear. Dinner. We weren't dealing with all this nonsense. If you wanted to go have dinner, go have dinner. But it was about the golf tournament. It was about having fun on the golf course, and it's refreshing. So it's building this next company. There's a lot of things that I want to implement, and it's fun here at the ground floor, trying to build out these systems to hopefully lay down a great foundation for a great company that, is profitable, but also really fun to work at. And, has a group of people who are willing to go on vacation together and go party and have a good time and celebrate and really build a community, around those employees where they've got some stake in it. And, you talked about the election coming up, and I heard this great quote about the election. They go, do you know why in the Constitution, the voting, there was three things that you had to be to vote for president. You had to be a white male, okay, and you had to, let's see here, you had to be white, you had to be a man, and you had to be a landowner. And the guy was bringing up this point. He goes, most people attack the men thing, and then they attack the white thing, but they forgot about the land thing. He goes, the reason why the founding fathers put the land thing in it was because if people own land in the country, they had an invested interest in the product that they were trying to deliver, which was the president of the United States. And it was one of those things, as we build this company, we want some people to have some stakes in it, because if you have stakes in a company, if you have stakes on how, your money is returned to you, God, you really, you give a little bit more effort, you stay a little longer, you work a little harder, and it's fun to, I don't know, I went with the whole voting thing, and that's very controversial, but it's one of those things that, I thought was really interesting.
Well, and even not what people are even proposing, these days, is that you have to pay taxes. If you don't pay taxes, you shouldn't be able to vote, right? Why is someone who doesn't contribute, doesn't pay taxes, lives off the government, why should they have the choice which is kind of a similar thing? You don't pay taxes, you shouldn't be able to vote and influence the who's going to be in there, because that matters, right? You're not contributing to the system. Why should you have the right to vote? So, and it makes sense, right? In that policy,
No, it doesn't. The reason why it doesn't make any sense, Nate, is because I don't pay any taxes. And it's because I take advantage of the real estate laws, the tax laws in our country. And the rest of the United States is acting like a bunch of idiots and not using these laws to their advantage. I agree and disagree with you. I think if you live off the government, if you take more than you contribute, I think you shouldn't have a vote. Now, if I don't like taxes, okay, taxes that's a fucking scam, okay? I pay fucking so many goddamn taxes. You get paid, you pay taxes. You go to the grocery store, you get taxed. If you pay someone, you have to pay them tax. By the time your money is really your money, it's like 50% less than what you actually got paid, and it's ridiculous. So I'm gonna say I completely disagree. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy paying taxes for certain things like infrastructure, military, freedom of speech, people who protect our Constitution. But the crap that's in there right now, I think, is just despicable. But if you're living off the government, absolutely, you should have no say.
Yeah, JC, just because I'm saying you still file your taxes. You're just saying you happen to
Oh,
not pay very
100%.
much in them because you.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different. I'm getting at the point of the people that just live off the government that don't even maybe there's the people that don't even take, I don't know, the free spirited people living wherever on the government.
They're not free spirited. They're criminals. That's what they are.
Whatever you want to call them. Yeah.
They're criminals in my book.
Well, and even to kind of go to the owner of this, baseball team and what I forget, I was talking with someone the other day and how it, I think the finals were on and I forget how we got into it or what we were not got into it, but what we were talking about. But even that people forget that the whole thing of sports is made up, right? It's literally made up. There's no, it's football or it hasn't been football. It's only been around for maybe 70 years, right? It's such a new thing. It's entertainment. It is strictly entertainment. And sometimes people get caught up in the fact of that, where this owner has not forgot. It's strictly entertainment. His team does these things which is why he probably sells out every night, why there's tons of people there, because he's what it's about, where a lot of these people forget that what they do, and I think it had to do something with, all this stuff going on with the new, maybe it's because of the NCAA or not the women's basketball, that new girl right at college that got drafted and they're all hating on her. Yeah, but so it's the same thing. It's like this is literally entertainment. The people go there to watch. They spend their money to be entertained because it's all made up. It doesn't matter. There's nothing about it that really matters. So if you forget about that, then it's kind of just one of those weird things that you're not remembering. Your customers, legit, your customers pay for you to make these millions of dollars as a basketball, football player, baseball, and without those people, the sport doesn't exist. There's no point of it.
It's funny because I talked to my wife. I go, I want to go to one of these Savannah Banana games. She goes, good luck. I've been on the waiting list for a year. I'm like, I haven't even known about this for like 2 months. What do you mean you've been on the waiting list? She goes, yeah, there's 2 million people on the waiting list. They have a 4,000 person stadium that was built in 1923 or whatever it was. And so good luck getting tickets. And that's what they built. They've built this entertainment product that goes above and beyond. I mean, this dude, when you show up to the ballpark, there are people in penguin suits helping you park your car. The actual baseball players are walking you to your seat. There are people in bananas literally handing you free programs. And it was one of the things that they did initially was he goes, Jesse Cole, the owner of Savannah Bananas, him and his wife go on a cruise. And he goes, this is amazing. We show up, they give us a drink, they take us to dinner. It's all included. If I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm thirsty, I drink. And everything, it's all organized and it's all catered to you. He goes, we're going to do that with games. He goes, it's as simple as this. You buy a ticket, there's no convenience fees, there's no taxes. When you want a hot dog, go get a hot dog. It's included. You want a soda? You want cotton candy, popcorn? Go get it. Totally taken care of by the actual ticket, which keep in mind, the tickets are $35 a piece. Okay. That's not a crazy investment for a baseball game, and the product and the amount of entertainment you're going to get and the customer service that you're going to receive. This guy is a genius. He's the new Walt Disney. That's what's crazy. He's building this empire that's absolutely bananas, to be honest with you. And I looked at their website. I go, maybe they're going to be playing somewhere else. You can't buy tickets to the away games. because those are sold out. They've sold out so many tickets that they are now renting out Major League Baseball fields and stadiums to sell out more. And you think, oh, they've only got one baseball team. No. He has 3 now that are playing in that same stadium. They've got the Savannah Bananas, they've got the wacky, crazy monkeys, and then they've got the the banana firefighters, or whatever the hell they are. They have 3 baseball teams. You go there and you're watching like just good baseball play. They're not even, I mean, they're professional athletes, but they're not at the level of the Major League Baseball. And it's just shocking to me that this guy could build something like this in essentially 8. I mean, he built it in like 2 years, but it's been going on for the last like 10, 12 years. And it's wild. It's absolutely wild. And it's a business model that needs to be replicated. How can we make lawn care like this? How can we make lawn care literally entertaining? Like what do the lawn care guys need to wear? You know, what does the lawnmowers need to look like? Do they need to look like sharks, land sharks? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, how do you separate yourself? And one of his talks that is now my go-to thing. He goes, listen, whatever normal is, run away from it. Do the complete opposite. And I thought about that, and I'm like, it's genius, because you're going to be able to stand out by yourself, and it's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. Everyone's going to think you're nuts. But at the end of the day, look, attention is what matters. And if you can spend 0 on marketing, that means you can pay your employees more. You can have more fun. You can do crazy, entertaining things while you're mowing your lawn, or me selling $50 hats. You never know.
Yeah, and even going, you were talking about the waiting list, and it would just remind me of this campers, 4-wheel campers. I know they're here locally, and they have at the time, this was a couple years ago, a 1-year waiting list that people would wait to get, these campers that go and sit in the bed of the truck, and they're meant to go anywhere your truck can go, they can go. So it's crazy, and they start at like 20 grand, right, for a camper that just sits in the back of the truck. And it's that people are willing to wait and to get them because they've built such a brand with the quality, with everything. They've been around, I think, since the 70s. But it's crazy, and it is one of those things that if you build something so good, so great, that people will wait to get it, wait to watch it, wait to use the product, whatever it may be, which it's just lost right now. Which is crazy too. Is like, man, who's gonna wait? I can just go. You can go buy a different brand. There's a couple other brands you can go. There's other baseball games you can go to. Why would you want to be on a wait list for a year? But it's like it's just one of those things that building your brand, getting it so at the top, that 1% or less than 1%, it's people are gonna pay top dollar for it. And even like you're saying, $35 isn't a crazy amount for a baseball game, even if it is AA, AAA, whatever it is.
Dude, it's like college rookie baseball. It's not even AAA. It's not AA. Like, for all the people from Sacramento, California, the River Cats are like the top tier of minor league baseball, and this team is at the very bottom of that. And it's just so, I don't know. It's really inspiring. And it's one of those things that, I'm excited to start building. And once you kind of tune into this type of business model, you start looking around and you start recognizing a couple of them. One of the brands that I can think of is Tesla. I mean, how long were people on that waiting list for that stupid Cybertruck? Years. And they were willing to put down a $10,000 deposit just to have a shot at buying it. And Elon Musk took that seed money and then started building the trucks. And he built this incredible brand. And it's funny, if you go back to, when Elon Musk started Tesla, his business, his ideology for the business was he wanted to produce a car that was fully electric, faster than a Porsche, but could seat 7. That's fucking nuts. They're like, well, why don't you just build the next Prius? He goes, because it's not sexy. It doesn't go as fast as a Porsche. And I can't fit 7 people in it. I have 7 kids, or I have 6 kids. I need 7 seats. And it's just, you kind of open your eyes to some of these things, and you realize that maybe not normal is the path.
Oh, it is, and it's just hard though, right? Especially when you're starting out, right? Like it's like, man, you're just struggling to make a couple bucks to make sure you get enough money to pay the bill. So it is sometimes hard to push through that stuff, right? Because you're just wanting to get some sales, you're just wanting to get some money going through. So and usually a lot of those things take more, whether it's a time investment, whether it's money investment, right, to get to where you want to go. So, but it's worth it. I think having a big vision is, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's just even in as an individual, having that vision of where you want to go, and having that path is something that's needed, and a lot of people don't have. You're just kind of going here, going there. But if you have that vision, like, I am trying to get here, I am trying to do this, it will guide you to where you need to go.
Well, I mean, I look at one of the examples that I can give is, everyone hates car salesmen. Well, if you find out why they hate car salesmen and then do the complete opposite when they show up to the door, maybe you'll make more sales. It was funny. One of the guys I used to work for at the Dodge dealership a long time ago, he had an assistant, and we're like, "You must sell a lot of cars." He goes, "Surprisingly, I sold the same amount of cars as you guys did, but then I added an assistant to do all my follow up and make sure my customer service was scored away, and I started tripling my sales. I make more money now, but at the time, hiring an assistant was crazy." He goes, "It was a huge gamble. I was having to pay her out of my pocket." And it's one of those things that I think any industry, like you talked about, you can make these small changes. You can do the opposite of what normal is. And you talk about, it's hard and it's difficult to do these things, but I can promise you it's all about effort. And I think I don't think the money is the biggest problem. I think getting out of your own head and thinking differently and thinking in a way that is going to piss some people off. And it's not the industry standard. I mean, if you look at places like CarMax makes more money per car than any car dealership in the world. And they don't negotiate price. And their profit margins banked it in every car. And you're like, well, how does that work? They go, well, customer didn't want to negotiate, so we don't negotiate. Price on the window. You want to buy it or not? Like, that's wild, but it works. It really does. And I think oftentimes, we do find a path that is the least resistance, and it's almost a shortcut. And I think it's something that if you can step back and realize that, maybe you do it more like Walt Disney did, and maybe you do it like the Savannah Bananas Jesse Cole does it, and maybe you'll succeed a little bit more. But it's a huge gamble, definitely. It's something that everyone's going to tell you you're fucking an idiot because I do it this way and it works. Well, what if you did it 5 times better? Then they'd be like, "Fuck, maybe I should do what you do." You know what I mean? So it's definitely it's a cat and mouse game that you got to pick which game you want to play.
Yeah, I mean, it goes even back to craps in the bucket, right? Like, you're trying to get out of the bucket. You're trying to get away from the pack, from what everyone else is doing, and they're gonna pull you down, right? They're gonna keep you there because you're trying to do something different. You're trying to better yourself. You're trying to do more. And it is a struggle, because and people sometimes don't even make it obvious when you're trying to do something, better yourself. It's just little things, because even as small as them just questioning you, like, why are you waking up so early to go to the gym? Why are you going to the gym so often? Why are you not eating this? Why are you not eating that? Why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you having a drink? What do you mean you're not going to drink anymore? Like, are you going to do that for when are you going to drink it? I don't. Sorry, these are things I get asked or get question about it. I don't know when I'm going to drink again. Maybe I won't. But man, everyone that does drink and they do find enjoyment out of it, it's such a weird thing, right? Like, what do you mean you're not going to drink alcohol? Like, ever? Maybe not. And so but it's a hard thing to deal with if you're not in the beginning. In the beginning, you are going to question yourself. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, maybe I should drink again. Maybe I should do it on the weekend. It's just one drink. What's it going to hurt? But when you decide to do something and be better, you just got to go for it. You got to ignore the noise and know what you're doing. You know the reasons why you're doing it.
It's not why, but it's why not.
Definitely.
I think I'm gonna get that tattooed on my wrist somewhere or something, or on my forehead. You know, because it drives me crazy, and you probably get it more than I do. Ever since we've been on the road, we get away from all that stuff, and it's funny to meet people out on the road that, you know, they're like, good for you, like that's awesome, you know, and it's something that, you know, when you get surrounded by the, you know, the why nots, it feels really good. And I think that's, you know, again, it's one of those things, you know, building bold, brave, and free. That's the community I want to build. I want to build the why nots. You know, I don't want to build the fucking naysayers and the people that ask why. Wait, JC, why are you training for a 100-mile marathon? Okay, that's bad for your legs. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for this. I go, well, if I get hit by a fucking car, it ain't gonna matter. What if I get cancer when I'm 50? You know, then you're like, well, you should have done it. You know, and it's just one of those things that it just absolutely drives me crazy. And it's something that, you know, you gotta, you know, you gotta have that hard shell to let that shit bounce off you and just keep going.
For sure, man. I mean, there's so much stuff that can happen. It's, I think that is really sometimes of what, like, stuff can end, you know, they can end tomorrow. It can end in a month. They can end in a year. Like, you don't know. And why not do the things you want to do? You know, and then, but people will use that also to be like, well, you should, yeah, all that. That's all the more reason to drink. That's all the more reason to eat all this ice cream and these donuts and whatever it is, you know, because who knows? You're going to live your life not
Well,
enjoying things, you know, it's like, I don't know, but it's, to me, it's one of those things is like, I'd hate to live life that way. And then in 5 years, 10 years, be 250 pounds and my health crappy and be like, well, shit, I'm still here. Well, that was dumb.
well, and I would say to those people, they don't enjoy doing the hard things in life. And you know, you look back at your life, you want to see some of the mountains that you climbed. And if you just laid on the fucking couch because you thought you were going to die 5 years later, I guarantee you're not. It's just not going to happen. You know, you're going to die in 10 years from fucking heart disease. That's why. That's what you're going to do. Okay. You're going to lower the average, you know, age of death. And, you know, I do believe in going all in. I do believe burning the boats and fucking going for it and pushing all your chips in. That's just who I am. And that's part of what I want to do. But at the same time, God, it feels really good to get up in the morning and go for a run. Like it's not during the run, not before the run. It sucks. It's horrible. But fucking gives you energy and it fucking makes, you know, making the decisions that, you know, are challenging fucking way easier. And to the donut eaters, you know, I do celebrate Donut Friday. To the drinkers, to the, you know, fuck it, I you know, all I'm good for is a 9 to 5 job, and I'm just gonna die when I'm 63 after I retire. I tell you, fuck you. You've already given up. I don't want you anywhere near me, and that's the honest truth. Until you're ready to do some hard work and fucking really pay attention to who you are and what you're willing to do for your goals and your dreams, and I would look at that same person and be like, do you not want to be around for your kid's wedding? Do you not want to be a grandparent? Because those are the fucking things that I think about. And those are the things that fucking piss me off when old people say that shit. They're like, oh, I want to die when I'm 70. And you're like, that would have been really cool to say like 100 years ago. Okay. But now with modern medicine, fuck, you can live till you're like 120. Like, what are you talking about? Technology is crazy. Let's shove an AI bot up your ass and fucking get you back in shape. I don't know. But it's, you know, it always comes back to, you know, not why, but why not?
Dude, that was like one of the best things about 75 hard, right? Like getting, especially when I did my morning walks, is like you're just up. You're up, whether you get up and go to the gym first or you're doing a 45-minute walk. Like you're doing something that's uncomfortable, that you'd rather be in bed. It's cold, it's rainy, it's hot, whatever's going on outside, but you're doing it anyway. And it's just a great feeling. It's a great feeling knowing you're accomplishing things, you know, whether you're doing something like 75 hard, whether you have a power list that you're knocking off your tasks every day that, you know, they're moving you forward, you know, going to the gym every day, reading, whatever it is. It's like knowing that you're bettering yourself, accomplishing something daily is what, I mean, it just gives you purpose. It gives you that strength. It gives you the whatever you need to keep going forward. And it's something that we recommend, I think, about on every single episode, to be doing something to push yourself forward.
Well, it's you know, coming back and making a full circle of raving fans by Ken, I can't say his name, Blackheart. Um, you know, all you got to do is get 1% better a day. If you can just get a little bit better, if you can, you know, if you can iron out one of those small details every single day, and that compounding interest is going to, it's going to stack up, and it's one of those things. And I'm not trying to brag, Nate, okay, but I see your gym pictures, your videos on Instagram and all that stuff, and I make sure I like them. But then I look down at my calves and I go, oh yeah, I've got better calves. But what it took to get those calves, thousands of miles. I had to run thousands of miles. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that, you just, this shit doesn't happen overnight. But if you can get just, 1% better every single day, just one step better every single day, and you're going to make a hell of a difference at the end of your life.
For sure. Calves are stubborn. I work my calves out 3 times a week, strictly, freaking calves are stubborn, especially for skinny dudes, man. They do not like to grow. So yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll have to take that. Maybe I'm gonna start running. I'm gonna start running everywhere, going up the hills, and maybe that'll be what I need to get them growing.
Dude, that's the trick, man. You gotta put anywhere from 3 to like 20 miles on them every day. Okay. It's, somewhere between that 25 miles a week to 70 miles a week, and you'll get there.
Man. All right.
Anyways, Nate. All right. We got to wrap it at this. I need to turn my air conditioner back on my RV. I'm sweating my ass off. It's like 85 degrees in here. We'll make sure we chat with you next week. And
all right.
Until then,
take some action.
It's about drive. It's about power. We stay hungry. We devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.